I seen the band make Johnny Boat. Yeah, I never seen ain't no spite. Well, my ain't no fight to do it. Bro, I wanna watch that. I would
And
get
it's
my look. This shorty. That shorty ain't no fighter. Good morning, y'all, man. We up to this money, man. You gotta get up, go get this money for the birds. Get it, you know?
Every MMA fan has said it, every analyst has claimed it. Justin Gaethje is the most exciting fighter alive because he walks into shots, because he trades with power punches, because he turns every fight into a war. But here's what everyone should be asking. What if that punishment isn't free? I'm a medical student who trains MMA. I ran Justin Gaethje's career through clinical framework used to assess neurological risk. And what I found changes
Damn.
how you watch him fight. Now, before we get to behavior, I will talk about exposure. Because brain damage isn't about highlights, it's not about knockouts, it's about dosage, about volume. Gaethje turned pro in 2011, 33 professional fights for now, over 15 years absorbing damage at the highest level on the planet. But frankly, the fight record, that's the least important number. Look at his UFC stats. That's the real deal. He absorbs 6.83 significant strikes per minute, while only blocking 50% of what counts.
Are you
as hit.
serious?
His average fight lasts nearly 13 minutes. He's taking more shots than he's landing. That's not a style choice, that's a nasty damage profile. Total career fight time is over 3 hours inside the cage, which with basic math means he has absorbed over 1300 significant
1,300 significant head strikes. Yeah, that nigga got
strikes to
CTE.
the head
We
just
might
on
have to
5
watch him.
nights.
He might try to do
That's
some
not
shit. I ain't
counting
gonna
a
lie.
single day of sparring.
Folks might, I
Which
ain't gonna say.
brings us
See, I
to
ain't gonna
what
say what I
almost
want to say, but I was
nobody
gonna say
in
something that was gonna
combat
be real and
sports talks
sensitive.
about. Subconcussive hits. The jab that
It was gonna be
snaps your
something
head back.
involving Chris
Your
Benoit.
light sparring session where you still ate 200 shots
IP gangsta.
easily. Nobody films those, nobody counts them, but your brain registers every single one and remembers all of them. That's called that accumulating effect. Here's how to think about it. Each subconcussive impact causes micro shearing of axons, the fibers neurons use to communicate. Individual hits don't destroy them, they just stretch them, weaken them. But over hundreds of sessions, those micro injuries compound into measurable
Major.
microstructural damage, even when the fighter never lost consciousness once. And Gaethje's style makes this
That's what I was saying about dude I was watching last night. He stomped him in his shit like that. I'm like, shorty, like, damn. That's concrete his head bounced off of. And on top of that, they damn near trying to copyright me about that video. Niggas be hating.
dramatically worse. He's a
It's the
brawler
Yakuza,
by
man. It's
design.
the
He
Yakuza.
walks into shots, he trades at close range. Though Gaethje himself says something more positive, data is quite clear. During his whole career, he was in wars, standing in front of elite power punches, eating clean shots to land his own. Look, he's in the top 5 for last 9 years. That's absolutely unique. Plus, he was building a damage tab before most fans even knew his name. But the scariest part isn't the damage you can see in the cage. So, what that damage actually does. Gaethje has been dropped, he has been finished, rocked in exchanges he walked straight into, and then he came back and did it all over again with a huge smile. After a big hit, I see a brain entering a neurometabolic crisis. Basically, a state of emergency where it burns through all its energy just to keep the lights on. Blood flow drops precisely when demand spikes. That mismatch leaves neurons vulnerable for days. Another hit during that narrow window is exponentially more dangerous. And Gaethje doesn't take days, weeks off between exchanges. He walks into the next one in the same round in a few seconds.
Literally.
And repeat that across a 15-year career at the absolute highest level. That damage targets specific structures consistently. Mainly
So, this is what I was talking about. This is why I was saying the Benoit shit. He's proving what I'm saying has to be correct. Like, come on, gang. What the fuck is it?
the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for impulse control, meaning thinking before you act. emotional break-in. That part thins over time. The amygdala, your raw threat and fear response, becomes hyper-reactive as that top-down control weakens. The connection between them degrades. The result is obvious. Reduced fear response, heightened aggression threshold that make a fighter more willing, not less, but more willing to absorb punishment. A brain that's been rewired to keep walking forward. Now, here's what makes Gaethje's case uniquely interesting. It's not just that he's taking hits, it's how he talks about them.
I don't believe I've ever had a traumatic brain injury from a fight.
Clinically, that's exactly what a thinning prefrontal cortex looks like. The self-awareness is still there, but the part that's supposed to act on it isn't. That's not a purely personality quirk that he's a badass.
That's
That
crazy.
might be neurology. Now, if you're watching this and you're a fighter, coach, or you're training consistently, you already know the problem isn't your effort, it's knowing what's actually damaging you long term. That's exactly what I help fighters figure out one on one. If that sounds like something you want to dial in, the link is in the description. Now, we will talk about the knockouts that change everything. Most fighters accumulate subconcussive damage silently. And Gaethje has both. He has been finished multiple times
Shit, fucks
at the
up.
highest level.
Man, that nigga,
Eddie Alvarez,
boy.
Dustin Poirier, and Max Holloway famously. Each finish is a separate acute neurological event. Rapid rotational brain acceleration, diffuse axonal injury. It's all layered directly on top of years of chronic subconcussive accumulation. And now I will mention the clinical principle that matters enormously. Acute hits on the brain already worn down by chronic damage are significantly more dangerous than either in isolation. The brain starts recovery already behind, already depleted. And with an average of 183 days between fights, that's roughly 6 months, there is serious question about whether that's enough time to recover given what Gaethje's brain is being asked to repair. Based on current research, perhaps not. So what does medicine actually have? There's a lot of things on the internet, but two tools matter most right now. The first tool are blood biomarkers. The first one is neurofilament light chain. It's protein inside neurons, and when axons are damaged, it leaks into the bloodstream. It's directly correlating to head contact volume, not just knockouts. Second biomarker is phosphorylated protein tau 217. It's a real promise as a marker of neurodegeneration. Good thing it's detectable in blood years before any symptom appear. Second tool, advanced MRI. Diffusion tensor imaging maps white matter integrity across the entire brain, detecting the axonal microshearing that standard MRI completely misses. Studies on active combat sports athletes show measurable white matter disruption that accumulates with career length. These and many more tools exist. Fighters just aren't getting tested with them yet. And in my opinion, nobody in the sport or on the internet is really pushing for it. That's why I make these videos, whether on YouTube or Instagram or X, where you can follow me, because I believe understanding the science behind injuries or risks is one of the best ways to keep doing the sport we all love so much. On this note, the bigger problem. Gaethje isn't a unique case. He's the most visible example after famously defeating Ilia Topuria. The fighters we mythologize, the warriors, the Iron Chins, the must-watch guys, they are statistically the most neurologically at-risk athletes in the game. And here is the contra-intuitive finding that should change how you watch every fight. High subconcussive tolerance is not protection, it's actually a liability. Fighters who absorb massive punishment without losing consciousness aren't being spared brain damage. They are just accumulating it silently without the warning sign that triggers mandatory medical review. The fighter who gets knocked out at least gets pulled, at least gets evaluated, and gets a mandatory suspension. It's not a victory, but definitely much better than being left out, as the fighter who eats 300 shots across 5 rounds wins by decision and walks out smiling. He gets nothing, he's back in the gym in 2 weeks, and he is collecting massive TBI.
Mm.
The most durable looking fighters are often operating in the most dangerous neurologic territory. Now, to be as objective as it gets, I have to and I want to mention high exposure doesn't mean guaranteed damage. The brain has genuine resilience, genetics, sleep quality, which Gaethje himself claimed he has at highest level. Then Gaethje, as UFC elite fighter, has hopefully access to the most modern recovery protocols and cardiovascular fitness. All of that modulates the damage trajectory. There is no simple equation where X fights equals Y damage. I listened whole Joe Rogan podcast with Gaethje, and he's still sharp where it counts. Plus, his fight IQ is elite, his ability to read exchanges in real time, adapt mid-round, maintain technical outputs across championship fights. Plus, as I mentioned in the podcast, he was able to put his thoughts out clearly. He is learning new skills. None of that suggests someone whose cognition is seriously compromised right now. He's 37, really young. He's still competing at the world championship level. He's number one in that division. And the honest picture isn't Justin Gaethje's damage. It's his cumulative exposure profile is among the highest in the sport. The acute events layered on that chronic base represent compounding risk, and we genuinely don't know yet what the long-term picture looks like. The science doesn't do clean endings, it just do honest ones. So here's what I want you to take from this video. Go back to the opening question. Is that punishment free? No, definitely it isn't. It's been locked every round, every sparring session, every exchange. The neurological cost is real and it compounds. Here's the quote I want you to remember. The hits you shake off are the ones that stay with you the longest. There is no highlight reel for subconcussive damage. No one cheers you when your prefrontal cortex loses volume. It happens quietly. If this video make you think about your own future in the sport, that's exactly why I coach fighters one-on-one. I help combat athletes train harder, recover better, and stay in the game longer and healthier using evidence-based systems. If that's something you want, the link is in the description.
To reward your conviction.
Man, shout out to bro, man. That was a very interesting video, man. I'll be back in a couple seconds, not some minutes. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all stopping by. See y'all soon, man.